So we said that transformer is a device which has at least two electrical circuits and they have a common magnetic field. So let's say I'm just showing us a simple winding, and this winding has been energized by a AC source. Okay, so the current which is coming into it is also a sinusoidal one. So I'm energizing this winding by a voltage source which is sinusoidal in nature. So obviously the current which will pass through this coil or this winding would also be of sinusoidal in nature. Okay, so if you can see that, so it will have some magnetic field lines like this. Okay, so it will produce magnetic flux depending upon the direction of the current. If we place another coil near to the previous coil in such a way that some of the magnetic field lines actually links this coil as well. So obviously now this current is a time varying current. IT is a time varying current. So the flux which is produced by it, let's say phi t, would also be a time varying one. And since this time varying flux is linking this secondary or the second coil, so it will, and based on the Faraday's law, we would be having the induced EMF here. And when we have discussed about Faraday's law, we have seen there as well. Okay, so based on the Faraday's law, we will see that there would be an induced EMF, and direction of that induced EMF would be decided in such a way that it will try to counter the change of the flux here. If it is increasing in nature, the direction of the induced EMF would be in such a way that if it pushes the current through this coil in such a way that it should counter the main flux here. Okay, so this is a air core transformer. I can say that there is no medium, only air is there. So this is air core transformer. And let's say if we connect some load here, so based on the induced EMF here, and the load impedance, some current would be drawn from there. Okay, so this is a air core transformer. The problem with this air core is you need more effort to have a large amount of flux there, because many flux lines would be leaked out. A lot of flux lines won't be linking the secondary coil. Okay, so you need a higher H or the magnetic field intensity to achieve a certain B. Okay, so you need more effort now. The reason is you have large flux leakage. Now to sort out this problem, we need such a medium whose property should be that it should allow or it should channelize all the flux produced by the primary coil to link with the secondary coil. Minimum leakage of the flux. So we have seen the characteristic of ferromagnetic material in one of our previous lectures. That there we have seen that the ferromagnetic material has a high permeability, relative permeability, and because of that it has a very low reluctance there, and it easily allows the flux to pass through it. Okay, and it requires minimum effort there. Okay, so instead of using a air core, so this kind of core is not preferable actually. Okay, so what we do is we have basically a ferromagnetic core. So instead of using an air core, we use a ferromagnetic core. This ferromagnetic core actually channelizes the flux through it, and it has minimal leakage of the flux. So the main operating principle is one electrical circuit or one winding of this transformer is actually energized by a AC source, and it produces a current IT here, which is also a sinusoidal one. And obviously we have seen in our one of our previous lectures that now it will try to push the flux by right hand rule. It will try to push the flux out of it in this direction phi. So the very first coil, obviously the first coil, let's say this coil is having n1 number of turns and this coil is having n2 number of turns. So the very first coil will experience the change in flux, which we have discussed previous as well. Okay, so the very first coil will have the induced EMF E1t. If phi t was phi m sine omega t, then E1t would be given by minus of n1 d phi t upon dt. So this would be equal to, let's say, minus n1 phi m omega cos of omega t, and this would be equal to n1 phi m omega is 2 pi f sine omega t minus 90. And what would be the direction of the induced EMF? If you see the direction of the induced EMF, as we have discussed in the previous lecture, that it should try to counter the increase in the flux, right? If flux is increasing in this direction, so the induced EMF, the direction of the induced EMF should be in such a way that if it pushes the current, if there is, let's say, the main supply voltage is not there and somehow this change in flux is there, so it should try to push the current in such a way that it should try to counter this flux. Okay, so based on that we have seen that if current is increasing in this direction, or if the flux is increasing in this direction, so it will have the plus polarity here and negative here. Okay, and we have already discussed in one of the previous lectures there. Okay, so E1t would be this, and obviously this was given by this, also we have discussed before, the RMS quantity of E1, I would say RMS would be 4.44 F phi m into N1. Okay, E1, this was E1t. Now same flux is actually linking with the second coil as well. So the first coil is having n1 number of turns, and let's say the second coil is having n2 number of turns. So the same flux is actually linking the second coil as well. So obviously even this coil is experiencing a change in magnetic field. So based on Faraday's law, even on this coil we would be having an induced EMF. And what should be the direction of the induced EMF? What should be the polarity of the induced EMF? Okay, so how to decide it? So let's say if the flux is increasing in this direction, the polarity of it should be in such a way that it should try to counter the increase of the flux in this direction. Okay, so the flux is increasing in this direction, so the direction of the induced EMF should be in such a way that it should try to counter this, because the Lenz's law has to be taken care of. So what will be the direction of the induced EMF? Okay, so flux is increasing. So if I say if current goes into it, okay, if current goes into it, so as per my right hand rule, what you will see is it will actually assist. Okay, so if current goes into it, for that it has to be negative and this terminal has to be positive. Okay, and if this is the case, so it will actually assist the previous flux. So this won't be the direction. Okay, so the actual, so this won't be the direction, this is the wrong direction. The actual direction would be here, so plus here and minus here. And you can see is, if plus is here, minus is here, so it will try to push the current in this direction. If current goes it, so increase of the current will try to, you know, nullify the, or try to reduce the flux, the actual flux here. So it should be plus here and minus here. This won't be here. So if this coil is having plus here, so even this coil will have the plus here. But you may ask, what is the need of it? Anyhow, this is a AC quantity, and if I connect a load here, how does it affect actually? Okay, so very well, it's okay. But let's think of, in some of the cases we need to connect two transformers in parallel. Okay, let's say in a locality one transformer was already there and the load requirement has increased now, so you want to install another transformer. Okay, so in that case we have to ensure that the polarity of the secondary of the transformer should be same, otherwise there would be a circulating current. So that's beyond the scope of this class, so I'm not discussing it here. So but these dots or these marking actually plays an important role. Okay, so if I mark the dot for this winding here, so even this winding should have the dot here. Okay, so dot means here if the current is increasing or flux, here if current is entering into it, from here the current should actually leave. So from this dot the current should actually leave and should go to the load. Okay, so this is the convention here. And what would be the induced EMF in E2? So E2T is also experiencing the same change in flux, but number of turns are different. So it would be N2 d phi t by dt. And if you see, this E2 RMS would also be 4.44 F phi m N2. So this is one expression and this is two expression. So 1 divided by 2, if you see, it would be E1. So instead of writing RMS, I am just writing E1 upon E2 is actually N1 upon N2. So the RMS quantity of the primary and the secondary, the RMS quantity of the primary and the secondary voltages, the ratio of it is actually N1 upon N2. Okay, so it actually depends upon the number of turns of the winding. But if you see the induced EMF per unit number of turns, it would be same on both the coils. Okay, so let's say E1 upon N1 is actually equal to 4.44 F phi n. Similarly, E2 upon N2 is actually 4.44 F phi n. Okay, so per unit number of turns, the induced EMF per unit number of turns on both the coils or the windings, they are equal. Okay, they are same. So this was how the voltage is induced on the secondary winding. So we will stop here, and then in the next lecture we will take up the case of an ideal transformer and the phasor diagrams related to it, and then we will remove those conditions on the ideal transformer and we will try to replace by the real transformers conditions. Okay, so we will stop here.